Hi, this is Nam from Easy Sunday Club. In our YouTube channel, we give you business strategy, how-tos, and occasional watercolor tutorials to show you how to turn your creative daydream into reality. Today, we are going to talk about online wholesale marketplaces. In order to guide you through this conversation, we are going to break it up into 4 parts. First, what are wholesale marketplaces? Second, what are the benefits of wholesale marketplaces? Third, the important criteria for evaluating these marketplaces. And last, we are going to compare and contrast 5 of the top wholesale marketplaces today. Those would be Trada, Bulletin, Tundra, Abound, and Faire. And then we'll wrap it up in nice, tidy final thoughts. So traditionally, when you're an artist or an art business or a maker, the ways that you would connect with retailers to set up wholesale retail accounts was very analog. So the first way would be to contact the retailer to pitch them your product. The second way that you would find a wholesale account was that the retailer's buyer or the retailer themselves found you somehow. And the last way to connect with a retailer was to attend a trade show where the makers and the buyers would connect together. And so with these traditional methods, there are, of course, tons of friction points in order to actually meet other retailers and get them to do business with you. First of all, when you try to pitch the retailer yourself, they either ignore you, ignore your email, or maybe when you drop by their store to see them, they may be too busy to talk to you. Secondly, a retailer actually finding you usually doesn't happen unless you're a really big brand or it's through referral. And last, attending trade shows are usually logistically cumbersome, right? I know one of the trade shows we've always meant to go to is in New York, but can you imagine going from LA to New York with all of your products and your tent and your displays? And also in these days of the pandemic, probably not the most ideal thing to do. So, what is the potential solution to this? Well, the internet has come to the rescue, like it always does, with wholesale marketplaces. So what is a wholesale marketplace? Well, what it is a web-based platform that connects brands and makers, such as yourself, with retailers and buyers. Think of it as maybe an Amazon marketplace or an Etsy, except this one is to connect retailers with makers. These retailers can either be brick and mortar stores, or they can have online presence, or they can be both. So the way it works is that you and thousands of other makers or brands have a virtual storefront on these wholesale marketplaces where you list out your brand story, your wholesale products, your prices, your minimum order requirements. And then once all that is set up, thousands of retailers will have the ability to look through these online marketplaces for products that they want to add to their physical retail store. These online wholesale marketplaces address all of the friction pain points that I listed above. So instead of a maker having to swing by a retailer to make a pitch, the retailer can just find you when they are ready at any time. It's open 24/7. The retailer gets something out of it because they get exposed to thousands of different brands that they normally wouldn't have had time to find on their own. The maker also gets exposed to retailers they normally would not have been able to be connected to. And best for both sides is that you don't have to attend those trade shows to make these connections. You now have this 24/7 virtual platform. There are additional benefits as well, just from like an administrative perspective. There's consistent and safe payment terms for both sides. There's policies managed through the platform that everybody has to abide by. And this is just better in general because usually if you are a retailer with 30 makers or 30 suppliers that you have to deal with, imagine having each one of those suppliers having different terms that you have to abide by. In this scenario, everything's like kind of consistent when you're on this platform. These marketplaces also try to have programs as well to incentivize retailers to buy more from different brands. Like they'll have free shipping promotions or they'll have return programs or sample programs. And there are also tools and solutions for makers to get their products in front of more retailers. Finally, there also attempts to be a level of trust and guarantee through the platform that necessarily wouldn't get in real life. So the marketplaces usually have some level of due diligence to make sure the retailer and the maker brands are both legitimate on both sides of the fence. And if one isn't legitimate or there are issues with damaged goods or fraud, there are remedies available in order to address that. So what are the actual important criteria to evaluate these wholesale marketplaces to figure out if they're the right one for you? I'll list out some of the criteria that was important to myself. So first is the launch year. When did this marketplace start? Is it relatively new or has it been established for a while? The second is how many brands do they have on the platform? This will kind of like tell me how competitive it is if I am going to sell my things on there and how much I could or could not get lost in the number of brands and makers that are on there. The next criteria is the number of retailers they have. The more the better, right? Because the more people looking at my products, then the better chance I have that I'll be able to get a wholesale account from them. The next is how many products are they selling on the whole platform in general. The next is messaging. So when I am messaging out to a potential retailer or vice versa, do they have messaging within the marketplace or app, or do I have to use email? The messaging aspect is actually important because that's how you kind of build rapport with your accounts, and that's how you maintain that relationship for the long term. The next is what locations do these marketplaces specialize in? Some specialize in the United States, some specialize in Canada, some specialize in EU, Australia, et cetera, et cetera. So the next thing is what are their commission fees? So the way that these wholesale marketplaces make money is that whenever you sell anything to a potential retailer on the site, they will get a cut of that. And usually what they have is a first-time commission fee when you meet that retailer for the first time. And then they'll also have a subsequent commission fee when you have return orders. The first time commission fee is usually higher than the return commission fee. And another thing I look at is whether or not there are commission fees for your existing customers. So if you bring one of your existing wholesale accounts outside of the wholesale marketplace onto that platform, will they charge you any commission? Usually most of the marketplaces will not charge you any commission because from their perspective, they want as many retailers using the platform as possible. The next criteria is what are the retailer payment terms? So when a retailer purchases something from the site, do they have to pay right away or do they have 30 days to pay through the wholesale marketplace or do they have 60 days? Next is when as a seller, myself, a maker or brand, when I sell something, when do I get paid? Again, right away, after delivery. Next is returns. Does the retailer have the right to send back the items I just sold to them back to me? And under what terms can they do that? Next is shipping. If I ship the product to them, who pays the terms? Are there any discounts? Are there ever any free shipping? In general, I'll also list out any pros that I know of each of these platforms or any cons, any other drawbacks that I know of whatever platform we are evaluating. So we're going to compare 5 marketplaces using the criteria I just listed out. So the 5 marketplaces that we will compare in the order listed is Trada, Bulletin, Tundra, Abound, and Faire. Going first with Trada at tradamarket.com. They launched fairly recently, 3 years ago in 2019. These numbers I do my best to find through a lot of research on the internet, but each of these marketplaces has different levels of transparency. For Trada, what I found right now is that they have about 500 brands and makers. They have 5,000 retailers, about 20,000 products. As far as messaging goes, you can do within the app, and they originally started in Australia, but they're expanding into the United States. Their commission is pretty interesting. So for first-time commission and subsequent commissions, it's just 15% flat across both. For existing customers, it's going to be 0% as far as commission fees. So you can just invite all of your existing wholesalers onto this account and to manage their invoicing and should be fine. For the retailer payment terms, they have to pay when the order is accepted by the brand, which is you. For the seller, we will get paid 1 or 2 days after the shipping. For returns, they're not allowed. Shipping, retailer pays. And some of the pros is that there's a flat commission fee and there's established presence and success in Australia already. And some of the opportunities is that it's just introduced into the United States, so it seems to be ramping up at this time. It was important for me to just include this one just so you can compare the different sizes of marketplaces and get some diversity. The second marketplace is called Bulletin.com. They were launched in 2015 and brands and makers on their platform is 1,500. Retailers is 13,000. Number of products, wasn't able to find that information. Messaging is in-app. Their location spans across the United States and Canada. And first-time commission fee is 15% off of each sale. Subsequent commission fee is 10% for every order after that. For existing customers, it's 0%. For retailer payment terms, they have to pay net 60, so within 60 days of the order. And then for seller payment, we get paid within 15 days of fulfillment. Returns are not allowed. Shipping is retailer pays. And these are some of the pros and cons. So the mission of Bulletin is from the founders is that they want to put the brand first and they want to make sure that there are reasonable commission rates. That's why they have the 15% to start with and 10% subsequent as opposed to Faire, which starts off at 25%. they really want a curated marketplace, not only for the buyers who are the retailers who are purchasing on there, but also for the products that are being sold there by the sellers. They also have Bulletin Plus free ad tool that can help boost your sales. Their platform is user-friendly and there's no penalty to the seller, which is the maker of the brand, if you turn down an order. The cons compared to the other marketplaces like Faire has more features like shipping label integration and bulk upload features. And also another drawback is that because it's so curated, they can be selective and picky. If you're a maker or brand selling on the site, they want to make sure that you're already familiar and have wholesale accounts. Your products are shelf ready with nice packaging. They want to make sure you have nice product photos. And they also want to make sure you have good consumer reputation. And the products that you sell in general, they want it to fit within existing categories. And they also want to make sure you have like brand storytelling behind that. So basically they want everything. The next one is really interesting. So Tundra.com. They started in 2017 and they have about 4,000 brands or makers on there. Retailers, they have 30,000, which is like significant jump up from Bulletin with 13,000, and they have over 1 million products. Their messaging is not as much in-app, it's mainly email, and their location is far-reaching, so United States and international. So the way that they're different is that they have no commission fees. So first-time commissions, subsequent commissions, existing customers, all 0%. And we'll get to what their actual business model is of how they actually make money. For retailer payment terms, it's due on order unless a different arrangement is done between the retailer and seller. And the seller usually gets paid 1 to 2 business days after shipping. As far as returns goes, it's not allowed. So like, what's the catch, right? So for some of the products, there is free shipping with limitations, and they also have different incentive programs. So one is the Pro program with Tundra, and this is for retailers spending over $500 a month on Tundra. They are able to get free shipping for purchases over $150. However, you have to ship through the Tundra platform and buy their labels through them because that's one of the ways that they make money is through shipping. So the good thing about this is that they're very proactive in blocking retailers from reselling on third-party marketplaces like Amazon, and they do their best to verify their businesses. There's also, of course, like I said, no commission fee. They have a samples program, which is part of that Pro program that I just mentioned. And there's also a gold badge program. So they incentivize the sellers, the makers, the brands on the site to participate in this gold badge program. So if you have a gold badge, that means that your products are 10% cheaper than they can find them on any other platform. There's also a minimum order of less than $50. And in general, any minimum order is 35% lower than on any platform. So some of the cons, which we'll get into their business model, is that they're not focused on handmade goods or small independent brands. Because there is no commission, everybody wants to be on it and they have a lot of retailers, so it can be saturated. There's no in-app messaging and you must ship through Tundra. Getting into the no commission, the reason why there's no commission is because they want sellers and brands to pay to advertise to bump up their products to get in front of retailers. So they have something called cost per click advertising. Basically, it enhances your ability to reach retailers on Tundra and paying for the exposure that gets you clicks. How it works is that you can set a budget of $1 for every time your product gets clicked on and have a maximum budget of $50. And if you get 30 clicks because they boosted your post, then you'll be charged $30 for that day. If you get 50 clicks, you'll be charged $50. The higher your cost per click, the more prominently your product will be shown. So the cost per click bid applies to all products in your storefront. So Tundra will showcase these products to buyers who are most likely to be interested in order to maximize the results of your business. So yes, it's great. You don't have to deal with commissions on this platform, but because they have to make money somehow, it's like you're going to get pressured to use these ad tools and to pay for these ad services, if that makes sense. So the next is Abound, and their site is helloabound.com. They were started in 2019. They have 10,000 brands and makers. They have 40,000 retailers, and they have 400,000 products. They have both in-app messaging and they also have email messaging, but they will not settle disputes outside of the app if you message outside the app. They're primarily based in USA and UK, and they have different levels of commission. So Abound has 2 different levels of commission. They have option 1 and option 2. Option 1 has a lower commission rate that they will charge the seller, but you will have to wait for payment longer. If you want to pay the higher commission rate, then you will get paid sooner. For option 1, the lower commission, it's 15% for first-time purchase, 8% for subsequent. You will get paid 45 days after delivery. For option 2, the higher commission, it's 25% for your first-time purchase and 15% for subsequent purchases, but you will get paid within 5 days of delivery. So depends on what you want. 0% for existing customers, For retailers, they have net 60 to pay. For shipping, retailer will pay, but there are discount opportunities like the first 24 hours on the site is free shipping. As far as return policies, there's free 60-day return policy on first orders from retailers. Kind of the benefits of this marketplace is that they are maker and handmade focused. Brands can decline orders. It's simple to use, and you have access to this lower commission rate. Some of the cons to this marketplace is that it's new, still growing, so you won't get as many sales on this platform. Third in size after Faire and Tundra. And usually as they do have some criteria for picking new brands and makers. They want brands to have at least 50 SKUs and somewhat of an IG following or brand story and awareness. So there's that. So last is the big elephant in the room, which is Faire.com. Started in 2017. They have over 40,000 makers and brands, over 300,000 retailers. Number of products, I'm sure it's over 1 million. Messaging is only in-app, and they are expanding quick. They're in the United States, Canada, UK, and some are in the EU. They have a high commission rate, so 25% for first-time sales on Faire. One of the reasons why people don't like using it sometimes. Subsequent sales are 15%, and there's no charge if you bring existing customers onto the brand. As far as retailer payment terms, it's net 60, so that's when the retailer has to pay. For the seller, you can receive next day payment, but however, there's a 3% credit card fee if you want next day, or you can get paid 30 days after shipping. For returns, there's free 60-day return policy on first orders from retailers so to make sure they can test out the goods. And as far as shipping goes, retailer pays, but there are also a lot of free shipping offers to retailers. They also have a Faire Insider membership, which is $19.99 a month. And with that program, there's also free shipping on thousands of products and early access to new brands if you want to participate in that program. The thing about Faire is that it's the biggest name in this wholesale marketplace. It's easiest to set up. Its platform has a lot of features and integration, so it's just the most well thought out and built out. However, they do have a high commission. Repeat orders from our personal experience and from others we heard are low just because the markets are saturated. And when you have this in-app messaging, it's hard to build that same rapport as that in-person relationship. And it's also growing so fast that they may not actually have enough resources to pay attention to the actual sellers and brands. They seem to be paying more attention to the retailers because those are the people who are spending the money there. And last, it can be very saturated and competitive at this time. So I just went through 5 different wholesale marketplaces and compared them all. That was a lot of information. So what's the so what? In summary, there are a lot of wholesale marketplaces joining this space, allowing makers and brands to connect to retailers at a scale that has never been done before. However, there are important distinctions that we have to evaluate between these different marketplaces to figure out which one is the right one for you. Namely, the number of retailers who are using the platform, number of other brands that you will have to compete with, commission fees that you will have to pay every time you sell something, and other payment and shipping terms. There are definite drawbacks in some of these marketplaces because they can get saturated. Your maker brand store can get lost in the thousands of other makers and brands on this marketplace as well. And the quality of retailers that you may get through these marketplaces may not compare to the ones that you actually build a personal rapport with in real life. So what do you think? How are you going to engage with these marketplaces? Are you just going to go with the biggest one, Faire? Or are you going to diversify and try out all the marketplaces and set up a store on all 5? Please let us know in the comments below. Thanks for joining us. And remember, you don't have to have everything figured out. You just have to take the next step. Thank you.